This first song I'm going to play is, I'm part of an organization called Rotary, and in South Africa we were working during the height of the AIDS pandemic. We were working on a community outreach program that was servicing child-headed households, of which there were tens of thousands, because the parents had died. A child-headed household was defined as a hut with 4 or 5 kids in it, the eldest being maybe 11 or 12, and that being the child-headed household. They had little or no social services, and so the community outreach program that Rotary developed was to service these families, these child-headed families. And so once a week they would bring them a food parcel, some meds, and counseling. And part of the counseling program that they did was that they encouraged them to have what they called memory boxes. And memory boxes were simply that, a box into which the children put memories of their dead parents. It might be a scarf or a pipe or a photograph. And it was a place they could go to for comfort in times of stress. And so I wrote a song called Memory Boxes. It's about a place called Marion Hill in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. The words Tula Tula Baba in Zulu mean hush hush father, and the word Amandla means power.
Heavy, wind blowing through the shadows of autumn. Tula, Tula, Baba, I'll watch all my brothers and sisters. Open up your memory boxes, fill them while you can. There is no time for mourning all. There is no time for mourning all. A time not long ago when hope and laughter filled the streets of Marion Hill. Then came the darkness, a savage storm that came and made our people ill. Open up your memory boxes, fill them while you can. There is no time for mourning all. And where are the mothers now? Where are the fathers? Where are the dreams we used to have? What becomes our future, our dreams of a better South Africa? Where are the people shouting from the hilltops of Amandla? Open up your memory boxes, fill them while you can. There is no time for mourning at all. And where are the mothers now? Where are the fathers? Where are the dreams we used to have?
Back in South Africa, one of the best known and loved musicians was a fellow named Sid Kitchen. He came to America and he played on the West Coast, and he played here at the Chocolate Church. He did some fundraisers for us at Rotary and also in Kennebunk. And a couple of years ago, when in dry hour in South Africa, he actually fell ill and he died. his wife sent to all his closest friends a text which was his epitaph, which he wrote himself. And it was very short and very simple, and it said, the birds in the rafters, the leaves on the floor of your temple of laughter will hear you laughter no more. Excuse me. And I put that to music. And since then I found that about 7 other musicians have also put it to music. And all of the songs are very different. The only common denominator is that everybody wrote it in a minor key. And the only words that I added to, he was a wonderful man who did a great deal of wonderful work in the community and service work, always willing to help others. So the only words I added were what happened to the African child, and I'm going to play that song. What happened to the African child? What happened to the African child? The bird in the rafters, the leaves on the floor of your temple of laughter will hear your laughter no more. What happened to the African child? What happened to the African child? What happened to the African child? The bird in the rafters, the leaves on the floor of your temple of laughter will hear your laughter no more. What happened to the African child? If any of you got the opportunity to hear him when he was here, he was an extraordinary musician. When you get to my age and you're a dinosaur hippie, apart from, peppering your conversation with words like groovy once in a while, you're required to write at least one protest song every once in a while. So this is my effort to, write a protest song. In 1945, the entire world said, "Never, ever again." Down the alley, looking for the light. I wandered through the shadows, lingering from the night. And I heard my conscience call me out. A tiny child lay dying, struggling for her life. How can there be a question of what is wrong or right?
so many have looked the other way. They came for you, they came for him, and they came for me and all of my kin. 45 voices cried, never ever again. And came Cambodia, South Africa, Amen. And I heard my conscience call again. Bosnia, Rwanda, wars in the Middle East. There was no road to freedom, there was no path to peace. And I heard my conscience call to me. Shades of gray colored my day. How can so many have looked the other way? They came for you, they came for him, and they came for me and all of my kin. I wandered down the alley looking for the light. Wandered through the shadows lingering from the night. And I heard my conscience call me out.
This is a song I wrote. I was working in Germany, and I was stuck over the Christmas period because I couldn't get back, and I wanted to get back to South Africa, and anyway, it didn't happen. So I wrote this song. David always wonders how I can forget the words to my own songs. It takes a certain talent to be able to do that. It looks like I'm staring off into space. I've got this little gadget here that's supposed to help me tune my guitar. Next song I'm going to do maybe that should be an E and not a D. This is in the Zulu culture, the religion of Africa is ancestral, and Africans believe that the spirit of their ancestors are with them all the time, and guiding them and helping them in their daily lives. Except when it comes to tuning guitars, and then they are absent. This poor guitar, so old. And so this is a song about my ancestors. It's called Amadlozi. Amadlozi means my ancestors, and the words are Ayangi Biza, which means I hear them calling. It's a song I recently wrote. I'm going to do one more song, and I'm going to ask Dave to come play with me. So while he's, messing around with his guitar, I can tune up a little bit. There's your table there, and you'll just have to, it's the one next to the white one, just unmuted. This is a song, instructions. We don't have a sound man tonight, He decided he wanted to go to a movie instead, I think. This is a song I wrote about my sister-in-law. But no, we laugh, but she was just the most wonderful person who ever lived, and I loved her dearly. And she came from a very sheltered life in South Africa, married, very traditional Indian, and she wasn't allowed to wear jeans. She didn't drive. She didn't do much, and she came here to visit us for 6 months, and she absolutely blossomed. It was wonderful to watch her, and we took her to New York City, and this huge, big city that was certainly amazing to her to watch. And Johnny and I had to go do some business, and so we said to Dolly, so why don't you, if you walk down 32nd Street and you take a left on Broadway, there's a building called the Empire State Building. And if you go in there and buy a ticket, you can go right to the top and you can look at the world. And she looked at me like I'd just grown another head. And we said, oh, go on, you're not going to be bored doing what we're doing. And so she went. And we arranged to meet her on the corner of 32nd and 7th Avenue at a certain time. And I'll never forget seeing her coming down 32nd Street, walking about 3 feet off the pavement with a huge grin on her face. And so I wrote a song about 32nd Street. And David's going to play with always be